So 5 key things you need to know about Russian data protection law and practice. First, Russian data protection law is rather advanced. It is based on the 1981 convention. It is still developing. For example, there are a lot of discussions as of now as to the definition of the personal data and what to include into that definition. Actually, the tendency is to make it more broader and actually to include such things as IP address and like. Second, localization. Well, this sounded really extreme to us 2 years ago, but we are learning how to deal with that. I appreciate Christopher Miller already mentioning that. It's a big topic still in Russia, and I'll touch upon that a bit later. Third thing, there are specific security measures prescribed by law for the data operator, the term that we use in Russia, to take in order to ensure security from unauthorized access or accidental loss. Fourth thing would actually look familiar to you, but this is something that was introduced just a couple of years ago. So claims by data subjects may be brought at the data subject's place of residence. So if you're, for example, a foreign company running a website that's targeting Russian consumers, you may find yourself in court somewhere in Vladivostok in the Far East because somebody would bring a claim against you. And the last but not the least, cultural aspects are of importance. And I'll tell you a little story about that once we get to consent issues. So this is a little structure that you can use for the reference that will just give you an overview of the legal framework for data regulations in Russia. So on the top you would see the key acts, the 1981 Convention and the Russian Federation Constitution guaranteeing the right to privacy. They act as the basis for other legislation. The core is, of course, data protection law. Also, we have the law on information technologies and protection of information. These two laws were actually adopted on the same day as part of the ratification process for the convention. The law on information covers general regulations on information, gives definitions, etc., covers various instances of restriction of access to information, right to be forgotten, and other things. Now, there are certain special provisions in various laws that would relate to rules on certain categories of data and certain data subjects. For example, the Labor Code contains specific regulations on HR data. And then we have the Civil Procedure Code for jurisdiction, as I mentioned already, the Civil, Labor and Criminal Code, and the Code on Administrative Offenses for Liability. And at the very bottom, there are also subordinate regulations. There are government resolutions, Rozkomnadzor orders. Rozkomnadzor is the Russian regulator, and also orders of other authorities. Those are the Federal Security Service, Federal Service for Technical and Export Control, and some others.